what's going on? Welcome back to Qajim on camera. Hey, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. We're about to get into this Q&A. I posted like almost 2 weeks ago that I wanted y'all to send me some questions, and we have a few. Some of them are from the same people, so not a lot of you sent questions, but a lot of the few that did sent multiple questions, so that should extend the video pretty good. And if this does well, I'll do a Q&A later, you know, or if you just have a question, we could talk about something. I don't know. I just want to get into talking on this channel. A lot of y'all like when I just talk sometimes, and I want to exploit. Well, exploit's not the right word, but you know, I want to get into that. So let's not waste no time. First question is from, I don't know if that's LA Drac 1 or Iadrac 1. I'm gonna put it on the screen. They said, what are your top 5 artists of all time? Off the top, I didn't like prepare for these questions because I wanted it to be fresh and in the moment. So in no order. Well, number 1 is Michael Jackson. That's number 1. That's in order, period. Number 2, Drake. That's in order. Michael and Drake is in order. So everybody else that I'm about to say is not in order. Let's give it to Paramore, because, and I know what you're thinking, oh, I knew he was going to say that, because no, let me tell you why. I probably wouldn't say that if I hadn't listened to their entire discography. You know, dealing with everything that happened, you know, Haley Williams showing love to us on the channel led me and JT at the time to listen to their discography and be able to appreciate what they've done. So now that I've gone through their, let me look at the camera because I'm looking at myself camera. So now that I'm appreciating their body of work, I can truly say they're one of the greatest of all time to me, because there's a lot of people that I haven't dove into that deeply. I'm not a big album guy outside of YouTube or whatever, you know. So number 3 is Paramore. Who else? T-Pain. T-Pain is, I don't want to say he's underrated, but I feel like he's not in a lot of people's top 5s. T-Pain, he just knows how to put out a hit. He's great at that. And remember, this is a top 5 list, but it's my personal favorite. So don't think, how can you put T-Pain over Prince or Elvis? Relax, it's personal. I don't listen to Elvis and Prince all the time, you know? So, all right, I got one more spot. Let's give it to, I'll say Lil Wayne. I am a little biased because I am from Louisiana. I'm not from New Orleans, but I'm from Louisiana. So I will say Lil Wayne for my number 5 spot. No explanation needed. He just been able to transcend rap, and he did the hello, oh, he did all of that. So I appreciate that. The next question from you said least favorite part of doing YouTube. I would say my least favorite part is putting something out there and it not doing well. For example, this is something new to the channel, so this might only be viewed by the people who send questions. This might not do as well as I would hope. So that's part of it, is putting something out that may not do well, I would say. And I'm in a position where I don't really have to come up with ideas. I just have to listen to new music that comes out, or old music that you guys want me to backtrack and listen to. So I would never run out of content. But when I used to make comedy skits, a hard part was thinking of new ideas and trying to just, you know, come up with sketches and stuff. That was more challenging than what I'm doing right now. But for now, putting something out there and then not doing what you thought I was going to do. Next question is from Jays82. They said, how do you feel about feminists today? When I saw this question, I was like, what do you mean? So let me actually Google the exact definition of a feminist. A person who supports feminism. Well, I thanks. Okay, now let's look up feminism. What does it mean to be a feminist? Okay. Feminism is about all genders having equal rights and opportunities. It's about respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge, and strengths, and striving to empower all women to. Okay, so that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure because I feel like that's an odd question. I mean, yeah, so I guess I'm a feminist too. If it just means you want equal rights for everybody, then yeah, I guess I'm. Now, I think what you're asking is how I feel about the crazy feminists. But you have to ask yourself, how do you feel about crazy anything? There's crazy feminists, there's crazy Christians, there's crazy groups of people in every area of life. So if that's what you mean in particular, I mean, I don't like anybody who tries to over push their beliefs on someone. But then again, if being a feminist means that you just want equal rights for everybody, then that's not really a belief. That should just be facts. So I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that well, but I guess I just discovered I'm a feminist. Next question is from Violet. What is your dream job? You're looking at it. I hope I can do this one day full time. Trying to. I got a lot of people on Patreon. We're almost at 40 patrons. Trying to get that popping off. And I do music. A lot of y'all don't know I do music. I'm working on the album right now. So I want to do YouTube and make music. Anything after that, I'm not sure, but I would love to be doing that for sure. Next question is from Tempest1816. They say your top 5 rock band / artists. Well, okay, so let's keep it to rock on this one. I already said in the other question, Paramore, and everybody else wasn't rock. So Paramore is number 1 for me. A number 2 is My Chemical Romance, and I only put them at number 2 because they have a lot of songs that I don't like, but the ones that I do like are really good. So My Chem is number 2. There's not many bands that I really listen to a lot of their discography, so these next couple answers might just be whatever, because like I said, it is all off the top. Honestly, number 3, I might have to give it to Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy is not a go-to for me to put on, but as I'm going through their discography, they just make really good music, and honestly, that's just facts. So I'm gonna give it to Fall Out Boy. Number 4, honestly, I feel like I can't finish this question because I just haven't dove deep enough into too many artists. I can think of a lot of bands that I like, but I haven't heard that many songs to really put them in a spot. And some of y'all might be mad because I didn't put Linkin Park in there. That's just a personal opinion, because that's another band that I have dove in deep to for you guys, but they're just not my personal favorite. They do make good music, but they're just not a personal go-to for me. So I can't really finish that question, but there's top 3: Paramore, My Chem, Fall Out Boy. Next question is by TennisFan. Next couple questions. First one is, what are your top 3 favorite TV shows ever? Oh, ever? See, I'm a big sitcom guy. So my favorite show of all time is Friends. I really like Friends. And the other day, I was actually watching George Lopez, and I forgot how good that show was. That show was so good. And I think I'm gonna put that at my number 2, like a really close second, only because Friends has a little more weight to it than George Lopez, but George Lopez is so funny. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that number 2. And number 3, I think I'm gonna give it to Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is just a classic. But that's in my sitcom mindset. I haven't watched a whole lot of shows. I mean, I like Orange is the New Black. That's a classic for me. But I wouldn't really want to watch it over and over again because I already know what's going to happen. At least with these 3 shows I named, they're comedy, so I could always laugh. But when you talk about a serious show like Orange is the New Black or whatever you watch, Game of Thrones or anything like that, those aren't really rewatchable in my opinion, because you already know what's going to happen. It's like there's nothing new to get out of it, unless it's like a mind, type of show. Ooh, you know what? Naruto's a top show for me. Would I put that over Fresh Prince? But it's so incomparable. I don't know. You would have to ask me specific, like sitcom, anime, serious. Like it would have to be so specific. I can give you a million answers. Next question is, if you did, where did you go to college? Never went to college. I graduated high school in 2016 and had no plans to go to college. I knew that I had to be doing something like this, and I've been trying to get this popping ever since. I've done many things. I've done YouTube, music, photography at one point, voiceovers. I've done like not professional voiceovers, but I made comedy videos. I've done a lot of things, so I've just been trying to make something work, and this is working right now. So yeah, no school for me. And your final question is dream place to live. Anywhere where I could just have peace. You know, right now I live in a little area that's not too, it's not like the city. It's like a town pretty much, you know, nothing crazy goes on. You just, there's nothing really to do, and I'm fine with that. I just want to live somewhere where I can do this and have peace, make music, have peace, be with my girl. Wherever she wants to go, I'll probably go, to be honest, as long as it's not too cold. If you could get stuck in a snowstorm in it, I'm not going. I'll take my chance with the hurricanes. I'll take my chance with all the other stuff, but I cannot go too far north. Next question by Melissa R. Hey, Melissa, I see you a lot. What's up? What language or instrument do you think would be the most interesting to learn? As far as language, Spanish, because Spanish is just so beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful language. Every time I hear it, it's just, I don't know, it's something amazing about it. And instrument, probably guitar, because guitar is just like, you could, I don't know, that's one of my favorite instruments. If I were to do something or what I think is the coolest, I would say guitar. Next, I keep wanting to say next track. I'm so used to doing albums. Next question is by Kyle Pickus. They said, as you are someone who is getting more and more into rock culture, in your experience, do you see any similarities and or differences between rock and hip hop culture? Do you feel like you resonate with some elements of rock culture, even though you grew up with hip hop culture? I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this question, I was like, I'm kind of felt some type of way. Not offended because I know you didn't mean it that way, but I was like, bro, I grew up with rock. Like, I grew up with everything. My earliest memories of rock is like Guitar Hero, watching wrestling really young. So I've always been introduced to rock. I've never been like a only one genre type of person. Even as a kid, I liked everything, you know. So part of that question can't be answered because I didn't grow up with hip hop culture. I grew up with everything, like a lot of people. But I'm gonna let you slide on that one. I kind of felt some type of way. But your other part of the question, do I see rock and hip hop similarities? Nowadays, more than ever, you know, when you had artists like Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, you know, that combine MGK right now. When you combine rock and rap, it just works. It's like the best of both worlds. So those are some artists that definitely are showing those mixtures. Now, if you're talking about that was the culture of the artist. If you mean the culture of the fans or anything like that, hip hop is the hardest, to me, the hardest genre to please people in, because when somebody drops an album, people are quick to say, oh, that's trash, that's mid, or they're quick to hate on it. I feel like in rock, it's not like that. People say like, oh, you know what? I didn't enjoy it the first time around, but I'm gonna run it back tomorrow and see how I feel. People are so quick in hip hop to just hate and to just be like, this not it, or just, it's really negative. And that's why a lot of people die in hip hop. All the time you see it. This person died, this person died. It's really a negative space. Depending on how you get into it and what kind of music you make, it can be really negative. And rock, you know, rock had its time, you know, back in the day where everybody was on coke and dying from overdoses and all of that. They had their time, and now hip hop is having theirs, which is unfortunate, but those are definitely some similarities. Next question is by Toxic Bunny. Any advice for anyone who is being bullied? Now, when I saw this question, I didn't really know how to answer it, because do you mean in-person bullying, like in real life, or do you mean online? Because if it's online, you know, the block button works. You can mute people. You can just not talk to people. But I assume you mean in person, so let's get into that. Depending on what it is it verbal? Is it physical? It all depends. I don't think I've dealt with bullying. Or if I have, I never saw it as that. I mean, you know, back in the day, you used to have people that come up to you, like slap on your neck or like clap your ears. They'd be like, pop, and just clap your ears. People did that, but I wouldn't consider that bullying. Like, I wasn't a target every day. They was doing it to everybody. So it's kind of like that deal. I think though, if you're being bullied to a point to where you just can't ignore it, I know you don't want to tell the teacher. I know you don't want to tell, but look, man, if you're in school, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, these people aren't your friends, so telling on them. The only time you should be worried about being called a rat if you and your friends go do something wrong, and then you tell on them when y'all get caught. That's a rat. You being a normal kid, normal citizen, civilian, and telling on people that's harming you. I mean, that's literally what the police are for. So that's what the teachers are for. You know, in school circumstances, you know, let somebody know, like, hey, because obviously, if you're asking me, you weren't able to handle it yourself. So that means you have to go outside of yourself and, you know, let somebody know. If you haven't tried to stand up for yourself already, I would suggest doing that. Sometimes people, they only mess with you because you don't stand up for yourself. But as soon as you be like, and I don't even mean like fighting, I just mean like, hey, can you, look, I really don't appreciate you bullying me. Like, keep it a stack with them. And if they still continue after that, then you have to let somebody know. But I would suggest standing up for yourself first, for sure. I hope that helped. I'm not too familiar on that subject. Next question is by Marvin Johnson. What is your all-time favorite Green Day album? I've only ever listened to American Idiot, which is on video. So you can go watch that if you haven't. That's like I told y'all all the time. I'm not a big album guy. When I'm growing up, I wasn't a big album guy. Now I listen to albums because it's part of this that I have going on. But normally, I don't do that. So that's the only album I ever heard. But I'll tell you my favorite songs. I love Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That's fire. I love 21 Guns. That might be my favorite. I just love how they came in. Just everything about that song is just, and it's a very nostalgic place for me, that song, because it used to come on Vivo. That's my favorite song, so I will give you that. Final question. Oh, you just submitted this 2 hours ago as I'm recording this. Shout out to Quinn Monk, MUNC. They said, what was the hardest lesson for you to learn so far in life? I'll put it to you like this. The most painful situation that I've ever been in was dealt around love. When I first started, you know, dealing with girls, I thought love was me wanting to always be around you, me wanting to, you know, be all up on you, like cuddling and, you know, doing all of that. And I wasn't thinking to myself like, okay, maybe this person doesn't want to be all lovey today, or what else does this person need from me other than to show them I love them? Because the fact that you love somebody isn't enough to keep a relationship going. You have to give something, you have to give more to them than just love. Because you can get love from your parents, you can get love from a sibling, you can get, but what else are you offering? You know what I mean? So after dealing with girl after girl, not a lot, you know, I'm just saying, a couple times I started to realize like, man, me being who I am, I still consider, back then I would definitely consider myself a lover, like a strong lover. Now, not so much, just because I feel like I changed over time. And not intentionally, I feel like I just grew out of that because I was loving too hard and I had to pull it back. And I never had the urge to just be that again. Sometimes it comes out, you know, you got to show your girl some love, you know, don't be all hard. You're not too hard for love. But it was definitely hard to realize like, man, being a good guy isn't enough to get you, or being a good girl, being a good person is not enough to get the person of your dreams or who you want. You have to be able to provide something. Are you working? Do you have a job? Do you have a car? Like, what are you, do you have your own place? Like, you know, and if you don't have all those things, will you provide that in the future? You know, at least have some ambition. I didn't have many goals really at the time. Like, it was, you know, you have to have a lot more than you think. So realizing that for me was the hardest thing. Wow, this video is, I've been recording for 22 minutes. This video is not going to be 22 minutes, but this is interesting. I didn't think it was going to go on this long. I appreciate y'all's questions. Hopefully we can do another Q&A. I don't know, maybe at like 10K subs or something. I don't know. We'll see. But this was fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all for submitting questions. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I love all of you. I will remember these moments whenever I'm at like 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, I remember these moments in the beginning where I had people that actually cared enough to send me questions. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's been your boy Qajim on camera. I'm out.